What's up, everybody? Ray here, Houston Film Fanatics. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We are talking crazy stuff with the new film, Annabelle Creation. Okay, so for those of you guys that have actually been sticking with the whole series, The Conjuring, and the very first Annabelle film, let me just tell you this. Annabelle Creation, which is a prequel to Annabelle, is 100% scarier than the actual Annabelle movie. I actually think I have permanent anxiety from watching this. I really do. Because, once you get started in the film, they slowly start clicking up the creep factor. Just click, click, click. Until end of the film, curled up in a little ball in the seat, just ready for it to end. Because it's an intense experience. We were fortunate enough to head out to LA and get a chance to talk to the cast. And yeah, I want you to hear some of the interviews that we had with them. So we're going to start up first. We got a chance to talk with director David F. Sandberg and one of the cast members, Stephanie Sigmund. She plays Sister Charlotte in the film. And let's get their take on what it was like making this movie and just some of their thoughts on everything. So let's check that out now. Thank you, David and Stephanie, for talking with us today. Now, I do have to ask. I mean, this movie was so scary, and it definitely is going to be giving me anxiety and keeping me up at night. But what I really want to know is how you guys sleep at night after making films like this.
Like a baby. But I actually, I kind of like nightmares in a way, because there's actually a scene in this movie, the scene with Linda and the pop gun shooting out into the dark, that actually came from a dream I had. Yeah, that wasn't in the script, so I sort of dreamed that scene of shooting it out and then having it grabbed on, by some unseen force. And I woke up and immediately wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. And then I sent it to Gary, the writer, and asked if we could put it in the movie somewhere.
So you wouldn't say that you're easily scared?
Not easily, no.
In a weird way, the idea of a haunted doll on paper, in a script, may not initially seem that scary. But on the big screen, it turns into a completely different animal. And audiences, I think, are going to be really excited to see this addition to the Annabelle series. What do you think it is about dolls that is so scary?
Well, I think, looking at this doll right here, I think it is because they're little versions of us. They look like us, and you kind of expect them to walk around and start doing things.
Yeah. Was it as creepy on set making some of these scenes as it was for us watching it?
For me, it was. Yeah, for me, it was us. I get scared pretty easy. He doesn't, but I do. And it was creepy. It's just you're in this set that is... It was actually pretty dark. Mm-hmm. It was not like this at all. It was pretty dark, and I guess it was part of being in character also. I don't know, but I was always praying and hoping that everything was going to be fine and that nothing creepy and bad was going to happen on set. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of scary.
One thing that I think is cool about this movie is that it is loosely based on a true story. Isn't that correct?
Well, the doll is based on the real Annabelle doll. She's locked
haunted.
up, yeah, and apparently they have a priest bless her every week or something like that to make sure that nothing happens. Yeah.
Even coming from that little element of truth, I feel like it really makes the creep factor of the film that much higher. What do you guys think?
Well, I also come from a we're religious in Mexico, and my family is, so I do believe in God. I believe in miracles, but there's also evil. We sometimes are instruments for God. The doll is an instrument for the evil.
Did anything creepy or scary actually happen on set?
No, we had the set blessed.
Well, that in itself is a little bit creepy.
Perfectly normal, especially for the type of movie that we're making.
Well, not to give too much away with this question, but there's a scene in the movie that relates back to The Conjuring 2, actually, involving the nun. And it adds this whole other creep factor to what you're watching. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's a connection that we have, my character and the nun, that at some point you'll see, I guess.
What are some of the scenes that you thought were exceptionally scary?
The dumbwaiter was actually very, very scary.
Yeah.
The first scene that I have.
Yes.
And when you see the Bible moving,
yeah,
that was pretty scary. That was pretty creepy.
One of the things that I think is cool about horror films and with new technology is that a lot of the times you guys I know can be making a scene and then not even realizing how scary it's going to be until after it's all put together and you get to watch the finished product when they go back in and they put in a lot of the scare factor in there, whether it's CGI or scary imagery. What was that like in this film? Because I think there may be a few scenes like that.
You really don't know how a movie is going to turn out, especially as an actor, because we have no control over what's happening everything and how they're directing it and the DP and the producers and the final product, right? So when I saw it, I was actually very surprised, very pleased and happy with the product and very proud of it because it was actually pretty creepy and scary.
Stephanie, a lot of us are familiar with seeing you in your role in Narcos. What did you have to do to prepare for switching gears completely from being in a show about, the drug cartel to being a nun in Annabelle Creation?
Just, I guess, do my own research and also my research inside of me. Like, just, bring those elements from myself because this is all I have to work with, right? At the end of the day. So I gotta find stuff in there. I gotta make it personal, and I gotta believe it in order for you guys to believe it.
Now, we have this screenplay by Gary Dauberman, and he has done a phenomenal job bringing this story together. What were your thoughts on his script?
I really liked what he did with the script because it's not really a happy ending. I mean, it is for some characters, but in a way, it's a pretty bleak ending.
I think wasn't there like a draft of the script where my character was supposed to die? Or no,
I don't think I ever
maybe that was a
read
dream
that.
I had.
I did think it was cool how in one scene you actually paid homage to the actual Annabelle doll, which is based on a Raggedy Ann doll. So that was actually a really cool scene to see.
Yeah, and I don't think they would have allowed us to use a Raggedy Ann. I'm sure there's copyright and stuff, and like they don't. Yeah, because there's that whole thing of they don't want you to use things in a negative way. Like for instance, the chairlift we had in the movie, like we actually bought that from a company that make those things, and right before the shooting, they got kind of cold feet. They were like, I'm not sure we want our product in a horror movie where things go bad. So we had to sort of calm them down and say, no, listen, we're going to modify it. No one's going to be able to tell that it's your product. It's going to be
That's free demon
awesome. With every chairlift.
Yeah, exactly.
Not good advertising.
What do you think is the biggest challenge with putting together horror movies, especially one like Annabelle?
I mean, some technical things. I mean, the challenge with Annabelle is that we have this rule of we don't see her like walking around, like Chucky from Child's Play or anything. So you have to work around that. So we do the thing in the movie with we throw a sheet over her and then you see the sheet move. So that's technically allowed in this universe. And then you have to sort of come up with different ways of having this evil manifest around her, So that's a bit of a challenge, but it's a fun challenge to sort of come up with all these things happening around her and just having her be the vessel of evil.
That was a solid interview from those guys, and I'm really, really excited for you guys to check out this film. So let's just keep the ball rolling. Let's move on to some of the younger cast members from this film. Lulu Wilson, who plays Linda, Talitha Bateman, she plays Janice. Now, these are our two youngest leads in the film. They are a big focal point of the entire film. Talitha basically is going to be playing one of the girls who is kind of the sole focus of the haunting, of the possession. Lulu Wilson plays Linda, her best friend. They're orphans that come and stay in this house and are just basically trying to survive. So let's take a moment to talk with those two, see what they have to say about what it was like making this movie. Talitha Bateman, Lulu Wilson, you guys played Janice and Linda in the film. Thank you so much for talking with us today. First thing that I wanted to ask, what did you guys have to do to prepare for making Annabelle Creation?
I had to learn to cry on cue. I couldn't do that beforehand, so I actually looked on YouTube at all these different and it worked, though. I learned how to cry on cue.
Preparation for me was probably with polio because my character had to wear a leg brace and a cane. 2 weeks before we started shooting, I walked around with a cane and tried to see how I would limp around because I wanted it to seem natural and real. So it was very difficult, but the leg brace made it easier because you really couldn't move that much with it. So it already was pretty easy.
Now, you actually got a chance to basically play a demon in this movie. I mean, what is that like for you to step into a role like that?
Well, it's just a completely different role. Like, they're polar opposites of each other, honestly. Playing Janice throughout the whole film and then playing Annabelle, like you said, just this crazy demon who wanted to kill Lulu's character and everyone. So that was definitely different, but My favorite part about playing the character was that I didn't have to wear the leg brace anymore. I could walk around normally. That's what I like the best about playing Demon.
Now, okay, there was a scene where your character goes back into Bee's room, and your character ends up following her in there. And I remember things kind of get scary. Your character runs away, and I just wanted to yell at the screen, "You promised you wouldn't leave her!" Do you think the whole outcome of this whole movie would have been different if your character had stayed and kind of stuck by?
Maybe they would have gone through what Janice went through together. Yeah. And that would have just been twice as worse.
Yeah.
No good.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how scary was it making a movie like this for you guys?
Really, like
a 7.
A 7? I was gonna say a 2.
Scary or like fun? Wait,
I think
scene.
If it was scary, I think I would say 2, because the scary parts, there were 2 things that were scary. The actual set but it wasn't scary, it was eerie. It was more creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy.
So it
was
wasn't
like a weird feeling sometimes.
And then the doll was obviously.
So after making this movie, has your view on dolls changed at all?
They're definitely creepier now.
Don't buy them or play with them or do anything.
Dolls and imaginary friends.
Just run.
Yeah, I would never get a doll now.
We've ruined a whole industry.
Ever. This movie was crazy for me because, normally you would think that when it's daylight outside and you're outside that you're in kind of a safe space, but this movie it doesn't let go. It doesn't ever stop. There is no safe space.
That's the thing, because you're never safe anywhere with the Annabelle doll. They even try and throw it down a well and she comes back.
This movie was really physically intense, because there's scenes where you guys are getting thrown up against the wall, you're getting dragged all over the floor. Yeah. How was it shooting scenes like that?
I thought it was so much fun.
That's my favorite part. Doing all the stuff.
Fell out of the ceiling.
When you fall down, that was my favorite part. You get rigged up and you fly up in the air. It's like flying. It's really fun.
So you guys did all your own stunts?
I didn't have that many, but I did the majority of what I did. Yeah.
They had a stunt woman, but they actually ended up using mine, which is really cool.
Now, just curious, how old are you guys?
I'm 11. I'm almost 12 though.
I'm 15.
And how long did it take to shoot this movie?
A summer.
Yeah, the whole summer.
Well, it's good you guys didn't have to miss any school. What's it like when you go back to just regular life? I mean, do your friends think you guys are the coolest people ever?
You're definitely gonna be.
Yeah. It's kind of hard though, because I go to a normal school. And I just miss out on a lot of things, and events, besides just learning every day. And sometimes my friends give me a hard time because they don't quite understand. They don't grasp the fact that I'm actually gone and working.
Sure.
So they just don't understand it, but I try to explain it to them as much as possible.
I'm actually homeschooled, so actually being on set is pretty similar to what it's like regularly for me. You do 3 hours of school every day when you're on set, and at home it's basically the same, except with my mom instead of a studio teacher.
Now, do you guys have a favorite scary movie?
Yes, I love Sixth Sense and The Shining.
I really like the Babadook with the dude. I don't even know how to explain it. And then I really like Crimson Peak.
So what was the scariest scene for you guys to film for each of you?
Scariest scene for me was probably when she leaves. After she leaves, everything goes crazy with the puppets, and then Bee showing up, and then I'm trying to run out into the hall and I drop my cane. Mm-hmm. That was really hard to film because most of the time you can't really get around even with the cane. But with that, I was trying to grab me onto the walls and run as quick as I could, but I kept on falling. Yeah. So we had to keep on reshooting, and it was really hard. I was just trying to find somebody. I yelled Sister Charlotte and everyone couldn't hear me because the demon, obviously. So it's just that scene was really creepy.
Yeah.
For me, I think it was Scene Under the Stairs, because it was so dark. And when we were shooting that, there was a period of time where I was alone, just me and the doll under the stairs. Just me and the doll.
Where was the film crew?
They were all outside because they were shooting me going into it. So I had to stay in there for a minute, and I know that seems not that long. It feels really long when you're in a dark space with Annabelle.
What was your first reaction reading this script?
I was kind of scared, because I'm always scared when I read the script, but then once I'm on set, all that fear kind of goes away, because I see they set up the lights and the director's right there and all the crew's right there in the cast.
It was really surprising to me because I didn't know it was a prequel. I thought it was a sequel to Annabelle 1. So finding out that it was actually in the 1950s and what our characters go through was really crazy. It's a brilliant script, though. I really loved it.
How many of these dolls did they make for this film?
I think, for this film, there's only 3. It's the stand-in, the stunt double, and then that one.
That's crazy.
And for the original Annabelle, actually, I think there were also 3, but separate dolls. In total, they said they made 7 when I met the woman.
Whoa.
Yeah, one of them went missing while they were filming. They had to remake one.
I'm sure making a movie like this, you guys had to do your homework. What did you guys learn when you were researching these roles?
Well, right before we started filming, I had researched the real Annabelle doll, and I didn't really get into it. All I know is that she's locked up in Connecticut. She's blessed 3 times a week, and it's crazy.
So what I learned during the filming process, I feel like I learned a lot about just making horror movies because this was my first one, and I didn't really know how it works. This is my first horror movie, so it was kind of crazy just seeing all the special effects right before, and they did a lot with makeup with Bee, the demon Bee, when she's your soul out the window. That was actually all real. They only added a little bit in editing, but she actually looked like that, and it's this little girl who's laughing in between the takes. But when she turns around, I'm okay, just don't talk
you
to
walk
me.
in. When you walk in.
And she had these yellow contacts too. It was just so freaky. So I think that's mostly what I learned.
Well, those two couldn't be more adorable, and what's not to like about those guys? We also got the chance to talk with Anthony LaPaglia and Miranda Otto, who play the Mullins, and they're the ones that are the owners of the house. They are the ones that are the owners and creators of the doll. Samuel Mullins is a doll maker. He is the guy who is the source for creating Annabelle. So how crazy is that? We literally get her creation from her being made by this guy who is an expert doll maker. I don't even know how you become an expert doll maker. At what point in your life does it take a turn and that's where you end up in doll making? It doesn't matter. Either way, let's get down to the interview. We'll talk to these two guys. You can hear their thoughts on putting this film together and all the crazy stuff that happened while they were making it. So check it out. Anthony LaPaglia and Miranda Otto on the set of Annabelle Creation. Check it out. Anthony, Miranda, thank you so much for talking with us today. So, first question is, how was it shooting this awesome horror movie?
A lot of fun, actually. It wasn't frightening to make. It was a very relaxed, chilled out kind of set.
Yeah, it was actually fun to make. Mm-hmm. And the set was very, a very friendly place. And between action and cut, that's when the scary stuff happened. And in between, nothing.
One of the things I really liked about this movie is that it seems like all the characters, as opposed to turning around and running at the very first chance anything's going wrong, everybody seems to kind of tentatively keep going forward and trying to figure out what's at the bottom of it. What do you guys think about that? Especially with seeing young girls and women in this movie that are actually trying to be strong. We're gonna check on this. We're gonna see what's going on. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, there's nowhere to run in this film, really. There's no one to run to. They're so isolated. But, the girls are really plucky. I mean, I love with Lulu's character that, in the beginning you think she's kind of quite, the soft kid, and, they're sort of on the outer with the other girls and all that. But then she's really plucky as a character, once she gets determined, she's really determined. She gets out there with that doll in the middle of the night. And yeah, I like that part of it. Like Anthony was saying, girl power.
I mean, this is totally it might be unique in the world of the horror genre, where it's the antagonists and the protagonists are all female. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't think I've seen that before. There's only 2 male characters in the whole thing. When you said people run away, I must see the wrong horror movies, because I always see people in horror movies there's 3 beheadings,
get out of the
and
house.
They're I'm going to look at the next room.
One of the things I did catch myself wondering while watching the film were, why did the Mullins stay in the house after all the creepy things started happening? I'm amazed that they didn't just pack everything up and leave.
Their penance to pay is to stay in the house
I think there's
and guard the doll.
I think they have an attachment,
Yes.
there's an emotional attachment that their daughter was born there, grew up there.
Yeah. It wouldn't be an easy sell, that house.
And the house itself is a huge character in the film by itself. I mean, it's super creepy. Was that an actual house, a real location?
It was built inside a sound studio.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
The exterior is a real house on Big Sky Ranch, but the interior they totally built, which was an incredible set.
Going back and watching a movie like this, does it put you on the edge of your seat seeing what your characters are going through?
No.
Watching it? Some of the things, I wish I'd never
Read
I
it.
wish I could see the film without having been in it or read it, because I know some
You'd
of the things
regret
that are
that, though.
happening.
You'd look at it and go, I should have been in that. That's what you would think.
I mean, do you guys yourselves like horror movies? Are you fans of the genre?
Particular horror movies, yeah. Like, I like movies like this when I like it when the production value and the art design and all that is very high, and I like it when I can believe in the characters. I like The Exorcist, I like The Shining, I like those kind of really high-level horror films. I'm not into the camera floating around, smashy, grabby kind of horror. I'm more into the classical ones.
I listen, when you're in the film, when you do it, you kind of know where everything is coming. So it's like, what's more interesting than something that Miranda talked about is the audience reaction. It's fun to participate in their reaction because you actually don't know where the bumps and grinds are going to work, and sometimes they come in places you didn't even expect them. It's like that's a more foreign experience than actually watching the film. We read the script, we worked on it, we know where everything happens, so it's not going to have the same impact if you come to it with fresh eyes. But watching how the audience reacts to it, that's very cool.
They're so vocal,
They're so
too.
into
Like,
it,
they're really interactive. And, other audiences are not like that, Like, you don't hear from them how they're feeling. I love being in the theater watching people watch it.
I've often wondered, when you guys are working on films, do you guys ever get to take home souvenirs from the film? Because
often.
Because apparently one of the Annabelle dolls is missing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Talitha and Lulu had said that one of them has gone missing.
Well, I didn't. I could remember it somewhere. Someone. It didn't propel itself. I don't know.
Somewhere on Sunset, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's really.
Well, Anthony, we heard Miranda's favorite horror movie. What do you like?
Old school.
That's a good
I
one.
like The Omen, Damien. All those are great. I think Jaws is a horror movie. That scared the crap out of me.
Do you guys think that horror movies that involve religion are scarier?
Yeah.
It depends I think if you're religious or not.
What was the best part about filming this movie for you guys?
Best part about filming. I mean, one of the really fun things was actually working on the lot. I mean, I know you worked on the lot for a long time, but I hadn't worked on the Warner's lot, so it was a lot of fun going to work every day in the same place and the amazing set that was built.
Yeah,
and
it feels
all
old
that.
school.
Yeah, there was something old school about the making of it, and that was really fun. It
Really
was
was.
really fun to make, and I think David's hugely talented.
The director had a lot
the
to do
second
with.
movie, and you would have no idea on that set that it wasn't his 20th
Remember,
movie.
like, when you look at it stylistically, it kind of not really. It kind of transcends the gender a little. The genre a little bit.
Yeah.
It's so lush and beautiful looking, and has a lot of. It's like old school cinema.
Yes.
It has a lot of depth to it, and it's just nice to look at.
Well, there you have it, guys. That was an awesome behind-the-scenes little look from the cast and creator of Annabelle Creation. Hope you guys enjoyed those interviews. Now, again, this movie was super scary, even for me. I really think that you guys are going to enjoy it. I think that it is 100% more scary than the first film in the Annabelle series. You should definitely check it out. And also, here's just a little tidbit. You want to stay till the end of the credits on this one, guys. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Stay till the end of the credits for this one. Annabelle Creation hits theaters August 11th. You are not going to want to miss it. And you're probably not going to want to sleep again after seeing this. But either way, check it out. Annabelle Creation. We have our full review posted at the blog page, Houston Film Fanatics. You can check it out at thebuzz.com. So thank you all for joining us. We will catch you guys next time when we are talking all things movie, TV, streaming. Don't miss it. Again, my name is Ray. Thanks for listening. Houston Film Fanatics, 94.5 The Buzz. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night.